Imagine a face that's pure sweetness. Big, round eyes, a tiny red bow, a smile that warms the coldest heart. Hello, Kitty. She's on your backpack, your pencil case, your pajamas, a global icon of innocence. But what if I told you that behind that cute little cat lies a story so dark, so horrifying, it'll make your skin crawl? This is the Hello Kitty murder, a true crime saga from Hong Kong in 1999 that turned a symbol of joy into a nightmare. Buckle up, because once you hear this, you'll never see that little white face the same way again. Picture Hong Kong in the late 90s, a city of glittering skyscrapers, buzzing street markets, and neon lights. But beneath the shine, in the cramped, grimy apartments of Kowloon, darkness thrives. Poverty strangles hope, triads rule the shadows, and the vulnerable slip through the cracks. This is where we meet Fan Man Yi, a 23-year-old woman just trying to survive. She wasn't perfect, petty theft, escort work to pay the bills, but she had a spark. Friends called her bubbly, with a laugh that could light up a room. She loved music, dreamed of singing someday. But in March 1999, her dreams were snuffed out. Fan crossed the wrong man. His name was Chan Manlock, a low-level triad with a cruel streak. She stole his wallet, 20,000 Hong Kong dollars, not a fortune, but enough to bruise his ego. Chan, 24, wasn't one for forgiveness. He lived in a dingy flat in Tsim Sha Tsui with 2 roommates, Chan Manping, his cousin, and Liang Xingqiu, a wannabe artist with a twisted mind. All in their early 20s, they were small-time thugs who craved power. When Fan couldn't pay back the money, Chan didn't call the cops. He decided to make her pay in blood. It was a chilly March night. Fan was walking home after a long shift, her breath visible in the air. Suddenly, rough hands grabbed her from behind. A rag stuffed in her mouth muffled her screams. She was thrown into a black van, blindfolded, heart pounding. The tires screeched through Kowloon's alleys, taking her to a 3rd-floor apartment with peeling paint and barred windows. The door slammed shut, the lock clicked, and Fan Man Yi vanished from the world. That flat became her prison. For the next 4 months, it was a chamber of horrors. The abuse started small, slaps, punches, belts across her back. Chan, the ringleader, had a sadistic glint in his eye, fueled by drugs and rage. His cousin followed orders, while Liang added his own sick flair. But it wasn't just beatings. They starved her, forcing her to beg for moldy scraps. Water, only if she endured more pain. They chained her to a bed frame, wrists raw from struggling, ankles bruised from metal cuffs. The apartment was tiny. 1 room, a bathroom, a kitchenette, reeking of cigarettes, takeout, and despair. No one heard her cries. Or if they did, in that neighborhood, you kept your head down to survive. The torture escalated. They burned her with cigarette butts, leaving scars like a map of agony across her skin. Hot irons seared her flesh, the smell of burning skin filling the air. Knives carved shallow cuts, Chan's initials, their sick signature. Blood dripped onto the cracked linoleum, cleaned up just enough to avoid suspicion. They made her call them master, crawl on the floor like an animal. Fan, once vibrant, was reduced to a shadow, her spirit cracking under the weight of their cruelty. Then came the psychological torment, worse than the physical pain. They forced her to recite apologies, to thank them for the abuse. Fan's mind began to fracture. She whispered to imaginary friends, hallucinated escapes that never came. The men laughed, filmed her on a cheap camcorder, treating her like a twisted toy. She weighed barely 70 pounds, her body skeletal, her eyes sunken like dark pits. Her hair fell out in clumps from yanks and stress. Her teeth loosened from repeated punches. Yet she clung to life, a flicker of defiance in her whimpers. The worst came in June. They brought in stray dogs, mangy, feral things from the streets. What they forced her to do with them was so vile, so dehumanizing, it broke her further. The men cackled, filming the pet show, as they called it. Fan's screams turned to silence. She was too weak to fight. They raped her, too, daily, sometimes all three at once, sometimes inviting friends. The assaults were relentless, a mix of calculated cruelty and opportunistic lust. One girl, Ah Fong, just 14, was Liang's girlfriend. She saw it all. Sometimes she joined in, hitting Fan with a high heel, too scared or too enthralled to resist. By July, Fan was a ghost in human form. She tried escaping once, chewing at her chains in desperation. They caught her, locked her in a cupboard for days. No light, no food, just darkness. When she emerged, she was compliant, her fight gone. They forced her to eat her own waste when she couldn't hold it in from the pain. Boiling water poured on her feet left blisters she couldn't treat. Her body was a canvas of bruises, burns, and open wounds, over 120 injuries. A forensic expert later counted. August 14, 1999 was the end. A fight broke out. Chan accused Fan of stealing again. He snapped. He slammed her head against the wall, again and again, until blood poured from her ears and nose. She convulsed, foam at her mouth, her body finally giving out. She died on that filthy floor, surrounded by her tormentors. They watched, unmoved. Fan Man-yi was 23. For months of hell. But the horror wasn't over. They couldn't just dump the body. Triads don't tolerate loose ends. So, in the bathtub, they dismembered her. Kitchen knives and a cleaver hacked through flesh, the wet crunch of bone echoing in the small space. They boiled her limbs in a pot, the stench of cooked meat mixing with bleach. Organs were stuffed into plastic bags, some flushed, some tossed in alley dumpsters. But her head? That's where the story takes its darkest turn. Liang, that artist, had an idea. His girlfriend loved Hello Kitty. Her room was full of the stuff. He suggested hiding Fan's skull inside a Hello Kitty mermaid doll, the kind with a pink tail and a zipper in the back. They severed her head, skinned it, boiled it until only bone remained. Eyeballs popped out like marbles, teeth pulled one by one. The skull, yellowed and grim, was stuffed into the doll, sewn shut with coarse thread. It sat on a bedroom shelf, next to trinkets and plush toys, a grotesque trophy. When moved, it rattled faintly, but the men ignored it. For 3 months, life went on. The men partied, brought girls over, acted like nothing happened. Afong knew. She'd touch the doll, feel its unnatural weight, and shudder. Nightmares plagued her, visions of a skull whispering her name. By November, the guilt was too much. She went to the police 3 times, whispering, "There's a body in that flat." The cops brushed her off, a 14-year-old, probably high, spinning stories. No evidence, no search. Desperate, she told her school counselor everything. That changed it all. On November 25, 1999, police raided the apartment. The smell hit first: blood, decay, bleach. Bloodstains crusted the walls, the floor. Torture tools, knives, irons, chains, lay scattered like toys. In the bedroom, an officer picked up the Hello Kitty doll. It was heavy, wrong. He unzipped it. Fan's skull tumbled out, grimy, with bits of flesh clinging. Her remains were in bags under the bed, in the fridge, half dissolved. The men were arrested on the spot: Chan, Manping, Liang. Afong turned state's evidence, her testimony key. The trial in October 2000 was a circus. Hong Kong had never heard anything like it. The media swarmed, headlines screaming, "Hello Kitty horror." Forensic experts testified to Fan's 120-plus injuries, broken bones, ruptured organs, burns so deep they hit muscle. Her sister wept in the gallery, clutching a photo of Fan smiling. Chan smirked in court, blaming Fan for disrespecting him. The judge called it the most horrific crime in decades. Chan got life in Stanley Prison. Man Ping and Liang got 18 to 20 years. Afong walked free but carried the trauma forever. Let's dig into the men. Chan Manlok, the leader, grew up in poverty, joined gangs young. Violence was his currency, stocky, tattooed, always angry. Chan Manping, his cousin, was lanky, a follower who never questioned orders. Liang Xingqiu was the odd one, quiet, sketching Fans suffering like it was art. They weren't masterminds, just pathetic bullies who escalated because no one stopped them. Together, they fed off each other's cruelty, a pack of hyenas in human skin. Fan's life before was tough but human. Born in rural China in 1976, she moved to Hong Kong as a teen, chasing a better life. She waitressed, then turned to escorting when money ran dry. Her sister said she was kind, always sharing what little she had. Friends searched for her when she vanished, but Kowloon streets swallowed her story. Her death sparked outrage, protests for better police response, tougher laws on triads. The apartment was later demolished, but locals whisper of cries at night, a lingering ghost. Why does this story haunt us? It's real. No Hollywood gloss, just raw evil. Hello Kitty, created in 1974 by Sanrio as a symbol of friendship, became a tomb. Innocence twisted into horror. Every time you see that red bow, you'll think of Fan. Her pain, her screams, trapped in that doll. As a reminder, evil hides in plain sight. The cute, the ordinary can mask monsters. Rumors persist. Was there a fourth man? Were triads deeper involved? Did police botch early tips? The media frenzy didn't help. Documentaries, books, even a horror film spun from the case. But the truth is uglier than fiction. Fan's sister fought for a memorial, a small plaque now forgotten. Chan appealed his sentence, lost. He's still in prison, they say. The others? May be free now, shadows in the city. Look at the timeline to feel the weight. March 17, 1999. Fan abducted, dragged into hell. April. Beatings, burns, her body a canvas of hate. May, rapes multiply, her will erodes. June, dogs, knives, her mind breaks. July, starvation, cupboard confinement. She's barely human. August 14th, death, head bashed in. September to October, skull and doll, life goes on for killers. November 25th, raid, truth exposed. This isn't just a crime story. It's a warning. Society failed Fan, ignored tips, overlooked the vulnerable. Poverty bred her captor's rage. If innocence can hide such darkness, what else lurks out there? Next time you see a Hello Kitty doll, pause. Think of Fan Man Yi, her laugh silenced, her pain eternal. Speak up when you hear whispers. Don't let another doll become a grave. Subscribe for more true crime stories that chill the soul. Like if this made your heart race. Comment. Could you live next door and not know? Stay safe.